Reason to Die. Reason to Die, R2D, created by Place Rebuilder in 2014, is a cult zombie shooter in Roblox that promised to set the standard for cooperative survival. Players teamed up in groups of up to 8 to fend off zombie waves across 15 detailed maps using 30-plus weapons and items like medkits or turrets. Unique zombies, tank, leaper, and modes, campaign, survival, added dynamism, while a quest reward system encouraged play. The game's potential lay in its deep mechanics, active community, 1.2 billion visits, and early updates with new bosses. However, developers neglected the project, hackers overwhelmed servers, the anti-cheat wasn't updated, and bugs, lost progress, went unfixed. Place Rebuilder halted development in 2017 due to burnout, leaving R2D remastered unfinished. The community shifted to fan projects like R2DA. Monetization via game passes, extra weapons for 100 Robux, generated revenue, but the game's decline cut it short. Jailbreak. Jailbreak, developed by Badimo in 2017, is an open-world Roblox game blending criminal and police roles inspired by GTA. Players choose sides. Criminals rob banks, jewelry stores, or museums, while police apprehend them. The game's potential lay in dynamic gameplay, freedom of action, and detailed maps. City, desert, prison. Earned cash-funded customization, cars, weapons, apartments, with updates adding helicopters, trains, and seasons with rewards. With 7.7 billion visits and a peak of 500K concurrent players, it had a thriving community. However, developers ruined it with monetization-heavy updates. Game passes, safe for 500 Robux, jetpack for 999 Robux, and pricey items, Volt Bike for 1M in-game, created pay-to-win. Frequent bugs, hackers, and rare fixes frustrated players. Post-2022, updates grew predictable, and the seasonal system became grindy. The community on Discord and X criticizes Badimo for greed. Royale High. Royale High, created by Call Me Bob in 2017, is a fantasy role-playing game in Roblox that promised to be a perfect space for creativity and socialization. Players attended a magical school, customizing avatars with wings, dresses, and accessories, using diamonds, engaging in quests, classes, and balls. The game's potential lay in detailed realms, Sunset Island, Divinia, social chat, and 10.6 billion visits, attracting girls aged 8 to 16. Game passes, quadruple diamonds for 1,800 Robux, and diamond purchases fueled revenue. However, developers ruined it with excessive grind. Post-2020 updates, Campus 3, made earning diamonds tedious, while lags and bugs, lost items, became rampant. Seasonal events, like Halloween, prioritized pricey sets over gameplay. The community on Reddit and X criticizes Call Me Bob for ignoring bugs and losing the game's original charm. It turned pay-to-win, deterring newcomers. The Mad Murderer. The Mad Murderer, created by Lolaris in 2014, is a social deduction game in Roblox that promised to be a hit with its tense gameplay, similar to Murder Mystery 2. Players were assigned roles. Murderer eliminates others, Sheriff hunts the murderer, or Innocent survives, competing on compact maps like Factory or Office. The game's potential lay in quick rounds, 3 to 5 minutes, varied knives and guns, and customization via mystery boxes, purchased with Robux. With 1.5 billion visits, it attracted fans of social games with simple graphics and fast-paced action. However, developers ruined it through neglect. Bugs, texture glitches, lost progress, went unfixed, and hackers overwhelmed servers due to a weak anti-cheat. Updates ceased after 2016 as Lolaris shifted to Mad Games, copying competitors' ideas. The community on Reddit and X laments the abandonment and clones like Mad City that overshadowed it. The original charm is lost, leaving the game in obscurity. Tropical Royale. Tropical Royale, developed by Rifters in 2020, was an ambitious battle royale in Roblox that promised to blend dynamic combat, unique mechanics, and a fantasy setting. Players dropped onto a map with 50 competitors, gathering loot, weapons, magical artifacts, and fighting in a shrinking zone. The game's potential lay in its smooth combat system, varied classes, warrior, mage, archer, and dynamic events like storms or bosses that added chaos. With 800 million visits and an active Discord community, it attracted fans of Fortnite and PUBG. However, developers ruined it with a weak anti-cheat. Hackers used aimbot and speed hacks, disrupting matches. Updates after 2021 became scarce, and bugs, server crashes, texture glitches went unfixed. Rifters shut down the game in 2022, citing resource shortages, leaving only fan servers. The community on X and Reddit blames the team for poor management and ignoring players, squandering its potential. Anime Cross 2, developed by Astral Games in 2018, was an ambitious fighting game in Roblox, uniting characters from popular anime like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, and One Piece. Players chose heroes with unique abilities, battling in PvP arenas or co-op missions using combos and ultimates. The game's potential lay in its diverse roster, over 50 characters, detailed maps, and smooth combat system mimicking anime action. With 600 million visits and a dedicated Discord fanbase, it attracted anime enthusiasts. However, developers neglected it. Updates after 2019 became scarce, and bugs, animation glitches lost progress, went unfixed. Hackers with aimbot and infinite resources overwhelmed servers due to no anti-cheat. Astral Games ignored complaints on Reddit and X, focusing on other projects. Hide and Seek Extreme, created by Tim7775 in 2015, is a fun hide-and-seek game in Roblox that promised to become a social gaming classic with its simple yet engaging gameplay. One player, the Seeker, had to find others hiding on interactive maps like Mansion or Library, using traps and taunts. The game's potential lay in quick rounds, 2 to 4 minutes, diverse maps, 15+, and avatar customization via Robux. Special hider for 250 Robux. With 2.7 billion visits and a peak of 100k players, it attracted kids and teens with its lighthearted vibe. However, developers neglected it. Updates stopped after 2017, and bugs, getting stuck in objects, map glitches, went unfixed. Hackers seeing hiders through walls ruined the experience due to a weak anti-cheat. The community on Reddit and X complains that Tim7775 ignored fan suggestions and left the game outdated, squandering its chance for growth. Loomian Legacy, developed by Llama Train Studio in 2019, is a Pokemon-inspired RPG in Roblox, poised to be a spiritual successor to Pokemon Brick Bronze. Players captured 297 unique creatures, Loomians, battled in arenas, and explored Roria, seeking mysterious tablet shards. The game's potential lay in its deep combat system, story, trading, and 867 million visits, attracting RPG fans. Game passes, Loomian Care Plus for 500 Robux, and events like Easter 2025 added content. However, developers ruined it with sluggish updates. After Atlantean Part 2, 2024, updates arrived every 6 to 8 months, frustrating fans. Bugs, trade glitches, quest stalls, and hackers manipulating rare Loomians went unaddressed. The community on Reddit and X criticizes the toxic trading scene and Llama Train Studios' neglect. The game lost players to rivals like Doodle World due to sparse content. Notoriety, developed by Brick_Man in 2018, is a cooperative shooter in Roblox, inspired by Payday, promising thrilling heists with tactical gameplay. Players, up to 4, planned robberies of banks, casinos, or jewelry stores, choosing stealth or aggressive approaches. The game's potential lay in 12 detailed maps, a progression system, weapons, perks, masks, and complex missions with hostages and guards. With 1.1 billion visits and a dedicated Discord fanbase, Notoriety attracted tactical shooter fans. However, developers ruined it with copyright violations. Using Payday's music and assets led to Roblox removing the game in 2020. Brick_Man didn't revise the content, while bugs, inventory glitches, stuck NPCs, and hackers' infinite ammo went unaddressed. The community on Reddit and X criticizes the developer for ignoring issues and lacking communication. Fan remakes failed to restore its glory, and the game lost its chance. Night of the Werewolf, developed by Hyperwolf Games in 2015, is a horror game in Roblox that promised a unique survival experience with mystical elements. Players, split into humans and werewolves, fought to survive in a dark forest or village. Humans sought weapons and shelters, while werewolves hunted using scent and strength. The game's potential lay in its tense atmosphere, dynamic maps, cursed village, foggy woods, and co-op for up to 12 players. With 300 million visits, it attracted horror fans with its sound design and simple graphics. However, developers neglected it. Updates ceased in 2016, and bugs, transformation glitches, server crashes went unfixed. Hackers using invisibility broke balance due to no anti-cheat. Hyperwolf Games ignored complaints on Reddit and X, leaving the game unsupported. The community moved to games like Flee the Facility, and Night of the Werewolf faded due to obsolescence. Booga Booga. Booga Booga, developed by Soybean in 2017, is a survival simulator in Roblox with a prehistoric setting, promising an engaging crafting and exploration experience. Players started on islands, gathering resources, wood, stone, berries, crafting weapons, armor, and bases, and battling tribes or animals. The game's potential lay in its open world, co-op for up to 20 players, and unique crafting system, from spears to magical crystals. With 2.1 billion visits, Booga Booga attracted fans of Rust and Minecraft with simple graphics and chaotic PvP battles. However, developers ruined it with a rebirth system in 2018, requiring heavy grinding for top-tier content, deterring newcomers. Bugs, disappearing bases, inventory glitches, and hackers' rapid resource gathering went unaddressed. Soybean rarely updated the game, and clones like Booga Booga Reborn split the community. Reddit and X criticized the loss of balance and neglect. Catalog Heaven. Catalog Heaven, created by Saranock in 2011, is a sandbox in Roblox that promised a unique experience of testing items from the platform's catalog. Players could equip any weapons, accessories, or animations, creating chaotic battles or role-playing scenarios on maps like Sky Islands or Arena. The game's potential lay in its experimental freedom, support for up to 30 players, and simple graphics, attracting 1.8 billion visits. Game Passes, VIP for 400 Robux, offered exclusive items, and custom servers provided creative freedom. However, developers neglected it. Updates stopped after 2016, and exploiters, scripts for infinite health or teleportation, overwhelmed servers due to no anti-cheat. Bugs like equipping glitches or server crashes went unfixed. Saranock ignored complaints on Reddit and X, leaving the game outdated. The community moved to games like Item Asylum, and Catalog Heaven faded due to chaos and lack of moderation. Monster Islands. Monster Islands, developed by the Steel Eagle in 2014, is an adventure game in Roblox that promised an epic co-op experience akin to Monster Hunter. Players, up to 6, explored islands, hunting unique monsters like Lava Behemoth or Sky Serpent, and crafted weapons and armor from loot. The game's potential lay in diverse biomes, volcanoes, jungles, a progression system, 20-plus classes, and bosses with complex mechanics. With 500 million visits, it attracted RPG fans with detailed models and team-based gameplay. However, developers neglected it. Updates ceased in 2016, and bugs, quest glitches, texture traps went unfixed. Hackers killing bosses instantly broke balance due to no anti-cheat. The Steel Eagle ignored complaints on Reddit and X, leaving the game without a final update. The community moved to games like Creature Chaos, and Monster Islands faded due to obsolescence. The Mimic. The Mimic, developed by MUCDICH in 2020, is a Roblox horror game inspired by Japanese myths, promising a unique story and eerie atmosphere. Players explore 4 books: Control, Jealousy, Rage, Rebirth, solving puzzles and evading demons like Kintoru or Enzukai. The game's potential lay in its deep narrative, sound design, and co-op for up to 10 players, attracting 2.3 billion visits. Game Passes, lanterns for 500 Robux, added customization. However, developers faltered. Updates like Book 2, Chapter 4 drop yearly, and bugs, texture glitches getting stuck, remain unfixed. Hackers teleporting ruin gameplay due to a weak anti-cheat. The Reddit and X community criticizes toxic chats and MUCDICH's neglect, as they focus on monetization. The game loses players to doors due to slow development and poor balance, despite awards for audio design. Retail Tycoon 2. Retail Tycoon 2, developed by Secondhand Studios in 2019, is an economic simulator in Roblox that promised an engaging shop management experience with deep mechanics. Players built and expanded stores, hired workers, managed inventory, and optimized profits, competing with others. The game's potential lay in its detailed economy, customization, furniture, products, layouts, and support for up to 4 players, attracting 1.3 billion visits. Simple graphics and tycoon-style gameplay appealed to simulator fans. However, developers neglected it, updates ceased in 2023, and bugs, cash register glitches, lost progress, went unfixed. Hackers generating money disrupted the economy due to a weak anti-cheat. Secondhand Studios ignored complaints on Reddit and X, focusing on new projects. The community moved to games like Supermarket Tycoon, and Retail Tycoon 2 faded due to obsolescence and lack of content.